Good morning, Year 3. Welcome to our second poetry session. And before we start, let's look at our ally. It's very similar to yesterday, to use examples from the poem to support my point of view and responses. So first of all, before we hear the poem being read, I'm just going to mention the use of onomatopoeia. Now, what is that? You can see on the right hand side with all of those words in the diagram of bam, crash, boom, puff, wham, and so on. They're all words that describe the sound and actually copies that sound of the object or the action. So let's first of all move on to the reading of the poem.
The Sound Collector by Roger McGough. A stranger came this morning, dressed all in black and grey, put every sound into a bag and carried them away. The whistling of the kettle, the turning of the lock, the purring of the kitten, the ticking of the clock, the popping of the toaster, the crunching of the flakes. When you spread the marmalade, the scraping noise it makes. The hissing of the frying pan, the ticking of the grill, the bubbling of the bathtub as it starts to fill, the drumming of the raindrops on the window pane. When you do the washing up, the gurgle of the drain, the crying of the baby, the squeaking of the chair, the swishing of the curtain, the creaking of the stair. A stranger called this morning. He didn't leave his name. Left us only silence. Life will never be the same.
Well, as you would have heard, and as you were reading, you will notice that this poem is made up of lots of everyday sounds or noises that you are familiar with. So if you look in verse 1, I'm sure you know about the whistling of a kettle, the sound that a kettle makes, the turning of the lock, the purring of the kitten, the ticking of the clock. Now those are all onomatopoeic words that have been used in this poem to show the different sounds that happen in your house and in other places that you visit. So let's look at some of the questions. So number one, why is this poem called The Sound Collector? Now if you look very closely at the ally, you need to use examples from the poem to support your answer in this question. So look in the poem. Why do you think this poem is called The Sound Collector? I think verse 1 would give you a very good idea about this question and how to answer it. Number 2, where did the sound collector put the sound? So once again, you need to look in the text and find the answer that you're looking for. So use the text each time. So we call this referring to the text to support your answer or response. Question 3, which adjective describes the water in the bathtub? Well, there is a key word in that question, it's bathtub. So if you scan through the poem and you look for bathtub, you will find the adjective that you're searching for. So use the text to answer question 3. Question 4, which word describes the sound of the toaster? So once again, we've got a key word for this question. The key word in this question is toaster. So you would look in the poem. Sometimes we use the word scan or skim. Look for the word toaster and find the sound that describes the toaster. Number 5, list 2 words that rhyme in verse 1. So you can tell which one is verse 1. Next to each verse on the left-hand side is a number. That number stands for the verse number. So look in verse 1 for 2 rhyming words. And number 6, once again, use the text. It's the same process as question 5. List 2 words that rhyme in verse 3. Number 7, what is the poet describing in the line, the crunching of the flakes? Now in this case, the key phrase in this question is the crunching of the flakes. So find that phrase in the text and then use it to help you answer the question. What is the poet describing? Question 8, what time of day did the sound collector call? So you'll be looking for a particular time of day in the text. It is there, but you need to look for it. So skim through the poem and find a time of day that will help you to answer question 8. Question 9, how was the sound collector dressed? So once again, there is a key word in that question, and it's dressed. If you find that word in the text, you will then be able to answer question 9. What tense is used in the poem? I'm not going to help you with this one. We know that when we're writing, we can write in first person, second person, or third person, and there's a reason that we do that. It goes with tense. So see if you can answer question 10. Question 11, why does the poem end with life will never be the same? Now that's quite a tricky question because you have to think about all the things that happened in the poem. What has the sound collector been doing? That's the only clue I can give you. Which is your favourite sound and why? So you can decide, is there a sound in there that you particularly like? And if you do like it, why do you like that particular sound? Question 13, write down 3 of your own sounds you could use in the poem. So think of 3 sounds that you may have heard this morning, for instance, or yesterday. Could you use those sounds in this poem? Now, as an extension activity, you could choose your favourite 2 verses of the poem, and you can practice reading it aloud using actions and appropriate sound effects. And then, once you have mastered reading that out aloud and using actions and appropriate sound effects, you could perform it to someone in your house. That is an extension. If you have time, it would be a good idea for you to rehearse and then put on a show for someone in your house. And also, it will help you to understand how this poem works when you hear all the sounds being mentioned. Now, it's all based on sound because that helps a poet connect with its reader. The readers can imagine those sounds because when they mention them, they can hear them. So it brings a clear picture in their head. When the poet's reading those sounds with the actions, the reader will be able to imagine what is happening in the poem. And finally, when you have time, email your work to yr3@grange.harrow.school.uk. Well, good luck with the task. I look forward to reading your responses to the questions, and also whatever you've done in this lesson will help you in the writing lesson after this lesson. So good luck for now. Speak to you shortly. Bye for now.